Hello, fam. Welcome back to Dose of Duality, the podcast where we create space for navigating the messiness of life, embracing community and culture around the state of coexistence. I'm your host, Alicia Ferguson, and you may notice that Deja is still out, y'all. Our homegirl is still maternity leave, so send her lots of love, lots of blessings. Check out her Instagram to stay tuned with that, the journey of motherhood with her. But today we have an amazing conversation. We have the Alicia Reese. So Alicia Reese is a transformational coach. She is an international speaker. She is such a powerful voice and force to be reckoned with. Like, honestly, she's always giving out just bits of wisdom and advice on just how to live life on your terms. She's also the host of Triggered AF, which is a podcast that talks about the triggers, like your triggers, the messiness and how you are triggered, why you're triggered, and how you navigate that and be well in that space. And so we have her today, and she's going to give us tips and tricks and advice on how we can date well. I love to say there's pee in the water. I'm sure we all say this in the dating space, and that dating is trash. But she is letting us know that dating is not trash. It's how we go about dating that is trash. I don't know if I like that distinction, but I receive it. I receive that. So get ready, get your notepads ready, get your Instagram quotables ready. She is about to drop so many gems on us. So let's get into this conversation today. Hello, y'all. Welcome back to Dose of Duality. We are here with Alicia Reese today. Alicia, how are you feeling? How are you doing? What's the spirit feeling like today?
Today, my spirit is feeling really hopeful, at peace. I am anchoring in joy in spite of the craziness that is my life right now. So I'm grateful.
I like that, anchoring in joy.
Mm-hmm.
That resonated with me right there.
Yeah.
I am feeling restful. I had a really good weekend. It was very busy, but I feel rested. And it's few moments where, you feel like a lot happened, but you still come back feeling replenished.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever the self-care things I've been tapping into, they're working.
Yes. I was going to ask you, like, what energy are you like harnessing or tapping into? So I love that.
Boundaries. Yeah. Like,
Yes,
there's always going to be a to-do list. As an entrepreneur, there's always a to-do list when you're working on multiple projects and you're excited. The thing is, I love the work that I get to be a part of and do and create. So it never feels like work, but you start to feel it weigh on you when you're like, I need moments of solitude. I need moments for my brain to just rest. I need moments to connect with my partner and like the other relationships, around you outside of work. And this weekend, I chose to shut all those things down. And in my head, I was like, let me just work on this deck real quick. But I was like,
just a little bit. I would just work on it just a little bit. It only takes me a little bit of time. And then it turns into 5 hours later. And it's like, dang.
Of course. And I was like, I feel like I'm missing too many. I'm in a season where, so I'm in Atlanta right now. And this is like, I definitely knew God brought me here. And so there's a reason and there's a purpose for it. And so it's like, be more present to what is here and not all the things that you're used to. Like, stop trying to create your life like you're used to. Just be present to what's here so you don't miss whatever this is. So that's what I've been trying to tap into. And it, like I said, I feel restful. I felt good. I felt guilty at first, though. I definitely did.
Of course. There's always that feeling of guilt when you are about to shift or change or transition, because it's your ego literally desiring to protect you. It is not at all trying to like hurt you. It's like, no. Come back here. We are safe right here. What are you doing? And it's like, it's okay to feel guilty that I am changing. And in this change, this is what it looks like. This is what my new normal is, or this is what the transition or the shift is now looking like. And honoring that, it helps to deal with the guilt and even too sometimes the shame of what shame brings, because shame means change means that you have to release certain things. and that releasing, and you feel bad about it, and you're worried that, oh, well, will they think I think I'm this, or will they think I'm that? And it's like, it has nothing to do with them. This is you
Mm,
versus every version of you.
Oh, say that last part again. That hit. That is it is you versus every
Every
version
version
of
of you.
you.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And sometimes you don't even realize all the different versions that like split off because again,
Yes.
it's protecting you. It's like it
Yes.
served you in these different seasons and it's like I don't need you anymore. I can be like, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
And-
it's and it really is a thank you so much, because
Yeah.
who I had to be when I was surviving, like I've dealt with homelessness, I've been in abusive relationships, I've experienced lots, unfortunately, physical abuse, and who I had to be when I was dealing with those experiences, I needed to be that person. If I was not able to compartmentalize and
Mm,
to turn off my feelings, and to tap into other parts of my brain to tell myself certain stories so that
mhm,
I could survive to certain points, I had to be that person. However, I cannot stay in a mode of survival if I am going to thrive or excel and soar and create the type of impact that I want to. I cannot stay in a survival mode, because the air where I'm going is
mm,
too thin to breathe as deeply as I had to when I was in survival mode. It's not the same type of air.
mhm.
Kind of like when you are, so I've climbed a couple mountains, like I'm adventurous as ever. And one of
Okay.
the, like it's been wild. One of the mountains I climbed was Rainbow Mountain in Peru. Now we had climbed Machu Picchu first, and then we went and climbed Rainbow Mountain. The air up there on Rainbow Mountain is very, very different from the air on Machu Picchu. We needed oxygen tanks up there when we were
So you had
climbing.
to have was it like the mask or something
We
that you
needed
wear?
masks. Yeah. We couldn't walk the whole way because the our breath was so labored, because it is different. It requires a different way of being when you were going
Mm,
to certain heights. So the person that you were when you were simply surviving or struggling is not the same person, or not even the same energy that you will
yeah.
be able to bring in once you start growing into who it is you're supposed to be.
That was such a great visual. Like we hear that and I hear people talk about it, but the idea of like physically seeing you like go up this mountain and as the air changes, right? Like there's the air is changing. So like what you need to bring or even the level that you're required, like you might have been able to like really skip up the not skip up the mountain, but climb
But
more
yeah,
vigorously before, right? Like I got this. And now you out here one foot in front of the other. Just as long as I put one foot in front of the other and so it would make sense though why all those different versions of you could like that's heavy to bring when it's thinning out and you
yeah,
don't
it's too
have
heavy.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can't carry all that baggage. You really will have to decide, am I going to be married to what my past stories have been, or who I was, or am I going to be willing to release these parts and
Mm,
pieces of me, because it can't go. It just cannot go.
yeah,
You
yeah.
cannot decide to marry your trauma and marry freedom. You have to
Mm,
choose.
mm.
You have to
Well,
choose.
speaking of marriage, I want to hop into this icebreaker game. Because we on the show, this is one of the things we love. We've already broken the ice. The ice is fully thawed out. We warm over here.
We
But I
want.
want to break we warm. But I want to break into this icebreaker game. And I'm giving one of the words away, but marriage is one of the words. So the what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna it's rapid fire. I'm gonna throw the word out. You say whatever's on your heart. Don't think too
Okay.
deeply on it. It don't need to be profound. Just let it go. All
Okay.
right.
Bet.
All right.
Hmm.
First word, radical.
Me.
Google.
Huh, info.
Romance.
Man.
Results.
Huh, work.
Marriage.
Partnership.
Wellness.
Wholeness.
Control. That might have been the answer right there.
Avoidance. Avoidance.
Okay. Freedom.
Travel.
Light.
Peace.
Atlanta.
Hey, wild.
I gotta find that side. Voice.
Open.
Power.
Money.
Men.
Fun.
Success.
Expansion.
Peace.
Freedom.
Promise.
Keep them.
Alicia.
Multifaceted.
Mm, mm. Was there any, well, one, how do you feel? Was there anything that stuck out that gave an answer that you were surprised that came up?
Men actually.
The fun piece?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this a new season for you?
Definitely a new season because they weren't always fun to me. They used to represent trauma for me, and now it's fun.
Ooh. So it's like when we talk about the work, it's like you've been doing, like that's the fruit of that now
Yeah.
your initial response is fun. Ooh.
Yeah. See, they
Okay.
definitely used to be trauma.
Girl, we all been there a little bit. We all been there a little bit with these men folk out
Listen,
here.
listen.
So I have this quote that I want to read you, and tell me what do you think or what comes up for you. So it
Sure.
says, one thing about me is I'm going to start over as often as I need to. I don't believe in holding on to ways of being that no longer interests me. And that is Michelle Clark. I'll read it one more time. So one thing about me is I'm going to start over as often as I need to. I don't believe in holding on to ways of being that no longer interests me.
That's how I live my life. Literally, my entire life has been centered around, hey, this no longer works. I cannot do this way and achieve the goals or secure what it is that I want in life. I am so okay with throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Mm,
I don't care about how people feel or, oh, well, I thought she was this or I thought she was that. She is and was, and now she's not anymore. She's decided to make a change. I don't
mm,
care about people's opinions about the decisions that I make in my life, unless if you're not sending some investments over around these parts, if you are not adding in ways that move the needle forward for me, I am okay with shifting, adjusting, changing. Change is the only constant. So I'm married to it. I said
mm,
I do to it. It doesn't scare me. It is an invitation in my belief to go deeper, to tap into what my soul knows is possible for me in this life's existence. So yeah, I'm
mm.
cool with it. I'm with it.
When did you okay, so because you said a lot of those you talked heavy. That was some heavy talk right there. I just gotta note that, right? That wasn't no light work with what you just said. But how do you feel like you got to a point where change, because we know change is a constant. It's always, if you're not changing, you're dying. Like it's a slow
Yeah,
death, right?
yeah,
So being aware that it's still like to lean in, like you're saying you're choosing to lean in. You're like, oop,
yeah.
change, oop, it could be fearful. Like this is an opportunity to go deeper. Like, how did you get to that? Or what did you do?
If I'm being honest, so for me, I grew up extremely impoverished. However, my mother bartered cleaning services so that I could be private school educated. So it was definitely a dichotomous type of situation in that at night I was, we lived off of MLK. My mom was a hoarder. So those houses like hoarders buried alive. Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
experience my entire childhood. Every place we lived, our house usually turned into some version of that. Um, and so there was always constant influx and change once we lost our house. We lived next door to the neighborhood drug dealer. Every time there was a raid, he was throwing his paraphernalia in our yard. So there was just constant flux. Like we were super
Yeah.
poor. We didn't always have food. Like it was just a lot. But then now on the flip side, when I'm in school, we're in uniforms. We're going to see operas and plays and ballets. And
Mm,
I'm going to Yale Club meetings and yacht club meetings. And I'm sitting on city council. So I saw the major differences and I guess the duality of life at a very, very young age. And what I understood with all the changes that was constantly happening in my universe is change is the only thing that I can expect to happen. From my mother being
mm,
okay one day, then losing a child and losing her mind and having to deal as a child with what happens when you have a person who is constantly in flux when it comes to their mental health. Change is all I know. So
Mm.
for me, I've actually had to do the opposite and work to become okay with stillness, because influx is all I knew. And so because I, chose abusive partners, I had to, all right, when things change, what is this inviting me to do? I can either fight against it, or I can sit down, cry my tears, because just because I'm okay with change doesn't mean I don't feel the weight of it.
Mm.
Cry
That's
my
good.
tears. Like, listen, and it be weighty sometimes. So cry my tears, acknowledge what I had hoped it would be, and then be okay with rebuilding a different version. That is honestly how I became okay with it. I acknowledge, hey, this is how I feel about this thing that is shifting, that is changing, and then I will write a goodbye letter to it, like a breakup letter. I like to write, and so I'll write a breakup letter to all the things that I thought it would be, all the things that I hoped would happen. I write a breakup letter to it. And then in that same letter at the bottom, I write, now this is what I am hoping this next chapter looks like. I'm about to literally do that
Mm.
next week, December the 1st. I think it's next week, December 1st. I think it might be, or it
Yeah,
might
it
not
is.
be.
It is. What's what do you, if you want to share, what are you breaking up with?
So I am breaking up with what I thought I wanted. I also, even though I'm married to change and I'm okay with it, I also have been the person who, let me take the safer bet, not the safe bet, but the
Mhm.
safer bet.
It's still risky, but not as risky as you know that you could go. Yeah. So people look at you like
Exactly.
you're a risk taker, and really you're like, I'm over here playing small still.
Playing small,
Yeah.
afraid of what would happen if I really did go after what I actually want versus what I think I could get.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I'm breaking up with that. And I'm about to completely change my life in a way that I have not had to do so in over 10 years at this point.
Oh
And it is being
wow.
okay with what this next chapter looks like, and asking for help, accepting the help once it's extended, and going after literally everything I feel in my heart that I want.
That is so beautiful. And not knowing what exactly is going to be on the things that you're inviting in or that you're hoping for. Just wanted to shout you out because although I haven't known you for a long time, it's like even seeing in this like 6 months or so, just how you decide to show up, how you continuously show up like boldly, but also like it's like this is the photo, but let me tell y'all what really happened in these comments, y'all. Like, let me tell you what was, and I love that. I love the duality and the dichotomy of being able to like see that and still carry the journey. And so, shout outs to you for one of your dreams was getting into TV, and so you're hosting on TV the Atlanta Film Festival, which is amazing. And I think I look at people like you, Alicia, and I'm like, oh, you got together, like you out here just slaying dragons and looking like a gorgeous outfit with it. And so when you do share though, like, yo, I was nervous. This has been a dream. It's like, oh, there's still more. Like, I love how you're sharing that.
Yeah, I don't, it bothers me sometimes when folks try to put on this perfect Patty, I'm a little princess
Mhm.
type filter, because that's literally what it is. And it's like, no, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, this is my first time doing this and I'm a little afraid, or I'm super excited. Or like there was one of the videos, most people might not have noticed it, but I noticed it, and that's exactly why I put it up there. But I was walking and reading the teleprompter and listening to cues and doing all these other things, and I kind of faltered a little bit. I kept it
Mm,
in there because you do not have to be perfect. But for so long, especially for people of color, not being perfect could have meant death. And if we keep it in a
yeah,
buck, it still can mean death depending on where you are in the world,
yeah,
where perfection is something that now that's something that we are seriously
yeah.
married to. But what I want people to understand is no matter how cute the picture is or the photo op or the access, there is still an entire livelihood and life that is happening outside and behind the lens of that particular picture. And I want people to always know, like, hey, real life is happening. It's not easy. It's not always roses and butterflies and sunshine. It is okay that you're going through traumatizing times or challenging times. It's okay as long as you still keep putting one foot in front of the other,
Mm,
just like what we were doing when we were climbing Rainbow Mountain in Peru, understanding that even when the air gets thin, as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, resting when you need to and resting when you must, all of those challenges, all of those struggles, all of that will literally be the pain that propels your purpose. So you just have to keep going.
The pain that propels your purpose. And it almost feels like they're contradictory. Like I shouldn't
They
have to have,
are.
it's like why does the pain need to be used to get me to purpose? Like just show me the road to purpose and I'll walk it minus
Yeah.
the pain. But it's like in that um you're it's when you build up a resilience, how I've been experiencing it, there's this resilience that comes, there's a different level of assuredness that comes that you're on the right path, that you're not on the right path.
Yeah.
And also just the beauty of we were talking about it earlier, like being present. I think that's
Yes.
where the pain, it's like sometimes we're living in the past or we're living in the future, but the pain sometimes just brings me to like this moment right here I'm grateful for.
Yes. Yes. And two, because I hate that too, right? Because I'm always like, well, why in the world do I have to experience pain to get to purpose? I'm sorry. I do understand that A comes before
Mhm.
you because when you're spelling it out, PAPU, I get it.
Yeah.
However, why is it? I am so sorry.
You good. You
I
supposed to
definitely have it on
be
do not disturb, and it definitely came through either way. Um, but no, so I always have, let me count that down. Five, four, three, two, one. I have always been the person who says, hey, I don't understand why it needs to be that pain has to precede purpose. I don't understand that. I don't like it. It don't work for me.
Mhm.
So what I have started to understand is pain is not necessary for purpose. However, most people don't hear you until pressure is applied. And by most people, I mean me. I don't really hear it sometimes unless a little pressure is applied.
Yeah.
And once that pressure is applied, I'm able to shift, adjust, identify, hey, this is where things need to shift, or no, doing it that way will never work because I
Mhm.
have to achieve this. Just it forces you to many times be as strategic as possible. It forces you to actually go out and secure what it is that you need because you have some pressure
Yeah.
pushing
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. That so a couple thoughts came up. It came the thought first visual for me was the pruning. And so how you pruning hurts. No one wants to be
Yes.
cut, especially something where you're
No.
like, this looks like it's fruitful. So why are we cutting it back? Like that feels counterintuitive to what we should be wanting to do. And it's like,
Yep.
but that's again, you have to prune so you can produce even better fruit, even riper fruit. It'll
Absolutely.
grow even quicker. Think about our hair. Well, you cut the ends, girl. Don't leave these scraggly ends. Let it
Yeah.
go. Them four little long strands. It's just like it's not necessary. Prune it.
Release it, sis. Release.
Oh man. So that was the thought of like, yeah, like the pruning, the pain, but again, it's helping you be the best version of you and constantly being the best version. So it's the pruning, the pressure that's happening. And then for me, like I am a pressure girly. Like when you put me at the last minute, when you apply it, I get hyper focused. And so it leads me to be really clear on what is a need, what's a want, what's desire, like all those things start to come into play when I'm forced with that. And so I want to transition into talking about triggered AF because the podcast, and shout out to your co-host Danny. Is she's still
Yes.
maternity leave right now?
Yeah, she's still on maternity leave. Hmm.
Okay, Danny, we are sending you all the love, girl. And when you get back, we need to all have this conversation. But triggered is like it is such a raw and very transparent conversations that you guys have together. But there's also you know what it is? It's like the ratchet, the ignorant, and the evolved all in one. It's like I know better and I'm choosing to do this right now because I'm still working through this. And it's
But
like, thank you. I feel seen. Like I felt seen here. And so with that, you guys have created this new dating course, which is like dating well. And the branding is, I love the branding. Let's talk about that. I love the branding with everything. But dating well, which made me think like, am I dating well? Like, what is dating well?
yeah.
So I want you to explain this quote that I heard you say. It says, the most important life decision you will ever make is who you decide to make your life partner. And this was when you were talking about the dating well as fuck course. I like the most important life decision. That's
Yeah.
heavy.
It is the most important one, primarily because when you think about it, the 5 people you're around the most, that is who you become. If 4 of your friends are always fighting, are always in some mess, always spending money, frivolously, whatever those people are doing, just understand that you're going to be the next one to
Oh,
whatever they're doing. Your closest intimate relationship is usually your partner. Your partner determines whether or not y'all will travel, where y'all will live, what types of jobs you will accept,
mhm,
what types of relationships you will be able to build and nurture, where you will be able to go. Like, if you think they are literally tied into what types of foods you eat, your partner determines a lot of that
yeah.
because we are communal creatures. We like to connect and be in connection. It's a
Mhm.
thing. So if your most intimate partner is someone who is out of alignment with what you want in your life, then you will constantly bump heads. It will always be where you are trying to either stuff yourself down into a piece that is more palatable for them, or you will be trying so hard to drag them
Mhm.
along to do what it is that you want to do that you won't go as far as you can because they don't want to do that. The whole ideology of one could chase 1,000, but two can put 10,000 to flight is literally saying that if you choose the right partner, you
Mm,
can more than 10x your life's possibilities. It is one of the most important decisions you will make, who your partner is going to be.
mm.
And for way too many times, we aren't actually making that choice. We are allowing a biological clock to make that choice. We are allowing religious dogma to make that choice for us. Our parents, our friends, we are the last people to put into, oh, well, I think I maybe possibly want this.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is why 70% of marriages, or excuse me, of divorces are initiated by women. 70%. And then if you're college educated, that number goes up to 90%. So that means 90% of the divorces
Mm,
that are filed are done so by women if you are college educated, because we're not taught to make decisions that align with what we truly want.
mm, mm. 90, you said 70% of divorces initiated by women, and then of
Absolutely.
that 70, the 90 of those are college educated women. When we look at that, because in my head, I'm like, okay, like what were the reasons? Like I would fall into that. Like if I was going to be married and divorced, I'm like, what were the things that would make me, like being college educated? What are the things that I might like hold of a higher value? And what comes to mind is we don't fully know yourself, and so I think like after you've been in school or maybe you've been into the professional realm and you start like developing and expanding and being like, oh, I do enjoy this, I don't enjoy this, or like this is the road that I want to go down. But if you've already gotten married or made those choices based on a fluctuating foundation, a foundation that wasn't necessarily stable, or you weren't home. I like to call it home sometimes. Like I hadn't
Yeah.
found home yet.
Yeah.
Um, and it feels, it's not selfish, but it's almost like, dang, I feel bad. I chose you, you chose me, and we didn't even know who we were.
Yeah. And I think too, like if you're already married, it is an invitation to explore and learn who you are together.
Mm,
It used to be that you become a different person every 7 years.
yeah.
Now, with the internet, I believe that you become a different person every 4 years. It's literally like going through college every four
Yeah.
years and you're graduating and becoming someone new. For folks who have high growth, so for me, I'm a high growth type of person. I usually change who I am every 2 years.
Hmm.
I know I won't do well with someone who's stagnant when it comes to growth. I'm
Mm,
going to frustrate them. They're going to frustrate me.
yeah.
And so what it really boils down to, if we had to get real honest, dating well AF, what it does is it teaches you how to learn you so well that you are able to communicate who that person is, what that person likes, what that person loves, what that person enjoys, and what that person needs. You're able to communicate that to others without trying to hurt their feelings, without making them feel less than intentionally. So you're able to communicate that and to do so consistently, so that you always know who you are. You are always in a place of being at home, because I too call it coming home to myself. You're always able to do so and to communicate what that is, and also not be so rigid that you can't invite your partner to learn this new version of you. That's okay.
Mm-hmm. What makes me laugh is because if you already are in a marriage or in a long-term partnership, and this idea of like inviting someone in, and if I'm not the person who's like that high growth person who's loving to learn, and like maybe I just like stability, it's like, dang, I thought I got the PhD in you already, and you up here up leveling, and now I gotta go back to school to relearn like this version of you, which is different
Yeah.
than the person I might have dated or the person I might have married. But like having those conversations. And I also hear though, like I need to know that first though. Like I can't communicate that
Yes.
if I don't know what's happening, like that I am even shifting. 'Cause sometimes we just are in those go, go, go. You're talking about that wave and we're moving, moving, moving. But if you don't take stock, it almost feels like I can't then invite you along the journey with me.
Yeah. And that's why literally, so we always, because I understand high growth people are incredibly overwhelming. And I was dating this guy and he's like, well, why do you call yourself overwhelming? I'm like, I don't call myself overwhelming, but enough people have called me overwhelming that
Uh-huh.
it's okay. Like it, to me, I don't see it as a negative. I see it
Mm-hmm.
as that is how I'm being received. That because I go sometimes so deep, everybody can't go scuba diving, just like
Mm-hmm.
everybody isn't climbing Rainbow Mountain, because the
Mm-hmm.
air is different and the pressure is
Mm-hmm.
different in both places.
Mm-hmm.
So because I understand that, when Danny and I were creating Dating Well AF, we were like, okay, how do we make this so that this is palatable? What does it look like? So first, take the what type dater are you quiz. Again, women are not taught to choose. We are taught to simply accept, because a man who finds a wife.
Mm.
Okay. And a woman who agrees to be found because this man aligns,
Yeah,
or this partner
yeah.
aligns with what it is that she wants, right? And so the first thing for us was take a quiz first to figure out what type dater you are. And then
Mhm.
once we figured out what type dater you are, then we created a bundle where it's literally 2 ebooks. One of them is 25 questions to cut through the BS, because people also don't know how to ask questions. Nobody cares what their favorite color is.
That's
Stop
good,
asking people
that's a
that on
good
the first
one.
date.
Mhm.
Nobody cares. I don't care
Yeah.
what what their favorite color is on a first date. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. What I do care about is and one of the questions in the book, in the little ebook, and it's super cheap. It's $9.99 and you get 2 books.
Yeah.
It the one of the first questions literally was is if you could repeat your childhood, what parts of it would you repeat? What that question does is it helps you to identify what types of traumas you will have to work through together, because you need to determine, do our demons play well together? Because everybody got
Mm,
them.
that's a
Everybody
good
got
way
a
to
shadow
phrase it.
self.
That is a good way to phrase it. Do they play what? Because we have them. Let's not act like we don't.
Everybody got some darkness
Yeah,
in them. I don't care what you say. I
yeah,
don't care how well you know the Lord.
yeah,
Me
yeah.
too. Me too. And also, there
Yeah.
are some dark parts of myself that may not play well with others. Like
Mm,
for me, I know I don't play well with a Leo and a Virgo man. Absolutely not. I've dated them both. And for me, it's a hell no, we won't go.
my dad
Again,
a
we don't play
Leo.
well.
It's just they different. My brother's a Leo. My ex is a Leo. They difficult.
They are
No
difficult
disrespect to
people.
y'all. Like there's
No
somebody for
disrespect.
y'all. It's just not
No
this
dis-
Capricorn.
Not this Taurus. I just it's a no for me, dog.
Mm,
Wish y'all nothing but the best. There are people who are great for y'all. I just know for me and my house, we do not align.
yeah.
And that's okay. But it's cutting through that BS, because again, nobody cares about their favorite color, not
Yeah.
at first. But there's another question around like what the vision is for their life. And it's not such a heavy question. Like we made the
Yeah.
questions light enough so that people can
Yeah.
actually answer them. I think one of the questions were, if if you could not fail, what would you attempt?
Mm.
These are the types of visionary type of questions you want to find out about people, and we aren't asking the right
Yeah,
questions.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so it's, figuring out by asking questions, getting to know who you are, asking yourself those same questions
That's what
so
I
that
was
you can
gonna
be
say.
clear.
It's like for me to be asking those questions, I would employ myself to be like, let me go through these first to see like where I'm at, like because I
Yeah.
can't be asking for things that I'm not even willing or knowledgeable on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love the idea of having. I almost see it as like a dating playbook of sorts. Like
Yeah.
these are the
It really
questions,
is.
right? That I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna have these like listed. But there's still sometimes that fear of feeling like, you know what I'm about to say, we be too much. I'm too much. How do I go into it and ask these questions, men and women, right? It's for everybody.
Yeah.
But like, how do you go and ask these questions and not feel like you're gonna be like, I don't feel like I'm interviewing somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, so see, this is a thing too, and I always tell people it only feels like an interview if you treat it like an interview.
Mhm.
Like, so what I do is I love to play games. And so many times, instead of just going to dinner, like everybody was in an uproar on all the places that, they
Oh my
won't go on
gosh.
the first date. It was a whole, I mean, it had us in a chokehold.
I personally would I like the Cheesecake Factory. Like, now that can be our first date. No, but, like, we've been dating. Like, yes, I love the Reese's Pieces cheesecake. Like, let's go. That's me, though. That's me.
And that's okay. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Just there's 8 billion people on the face of the planet. At least at any given time, there's 1.3 billion of those people who are single, who are ready to mingle, who you could
Yeah,
date, men and women. So
yeah.
just find the butter that's for your bread. It's a butter for every bread. It really is. Find the one that works and aligns with you. So now
Yeah.
for me, because I don't eat Cheesecake Factory because I love to cook. And for me, the food has no flavor. Now,
Mhm.
it's not about cost.
Yeah.
There's literally a comparable, since we in Atlanta, we talk about Atlanta, Rock Steady. The costs are comparable
Oh,
and the
I
food
love
is
Rocksteady.
amazing. Yeah, like so for me, it's okay, just find someplace comparable. Their
Yeah,
food quality is different for me. I don't like the quality of the food at Cheesecake
yeah,
Factory, but Cheesecake Factory is not cheap. I
yeah.
don't know people,
I
it's
don't
not
know where they
cheap.
got that from. I was like, where do
It's
you
not cheap.
what part of the menu? The kids menu? Is that where you ordering from? Because it's
Yeah.
not.
Like it's not a
Rocksteady
cheap
reminds me of New
date.
York so much. Ugh, it just makes me
Yeah.
feel home.
It,
Love Rocksteady.
it
Wait, when you're
does.
getting into, and you didn't give it a label, but I'm gonna give it a label, and correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it sounds like you're talking about your like you said like non-negotiables, preferences, and then you have the nice to haves.
Yeah.
And I heard when I was listening to you and Danny speak, it was having these buckets to
Hmm.
determine. So if I'm going into it and I have my playbook, but I can get any answer that comes, like how do I filter the answers to know if this person is someone that I want to move forward with? Can you talk to like what the
Yeah.
non-negotiables, preferences, and the nice to haves are?
Absolutely. So in our actual course, like I said, we have the quiz, then we have the two ebooks, and then we like, okay, if you still rocking and rolling, you want
Yeah,
some more.
we still
All right.
rocking it.
Yeah, you still rocking and rolling. So okay, you get the dating well AF course. And then in the actual course, what it talks about is when you define those three, for me, a non-negotiable is I don't like men who have had any type of abuse in their past. I understand that people grow, people change.
Mhm.
Cool. I was married to an abuser, so I do not do men who cannot control their emotions. And that's usually what abusers are. They cannot control their emotions. They do not know how to deal with complex emotions. I'm good, love, and joy. That's a non negotiable for me.
Yeah.
A preference, and I don't care how fine you are, how much money you got. If I come to find out that you
Mm,
were in an abusive relationship and you were the abuser, I'm good, love, and joy.
yeah.
That's a non negotiable. A preference is I prefer partners who have done some sort of healing work. You've been to therapy, you have a coach, you have a mentor who you consistently meet with to work through challenges. That's my type of thing. That is my
Mhm.
preference. Like high
That
growth
sounds sexy to
individuals,
me. Mm.
it is super sexy. Like men who love self development. Oh my God,
Ooh,
sign me up.
speak
Ooh.
English.
Yeah. And a nice to have, I love men who are incredibly fit. It is something so, whew, so sexy to me.
The way you took that deep breath, girl.
It's like, you like the gym. And here's the thing. I don't like the gym. So some people are like, well, oh my God, how, but I like working out in other ways.
Yeah.
I like yoga.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go to the gym and be lifting the weights. Mm-mm. Give me a little Pilates,
Yeah. But
a
you like
little
moving
yoga.
your body. Like you
Yes.
appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be if we had to make it super simple, figure out what those are. What are your primary non-negotiables? I only gave you one for each because we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
But like figure out what are your non-negotiables, no matter how fine, how amazing, how well connected, how whatever. If you are an abuser for me, it's a hell no, we won't
Yeah.
go. Figure out what your non-negotiables are so that if and when it comes up in conversation, because you were saying, how can we make it so that it's not like you're too much? Play a game with them. You can go golfing with them and have y'all some nips if if you like to drink, or if let's say you don't like to drink,
That's cute.
have you, I don't know, pieces of sour candy or whatever that you have to take every time they get a wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like turn it into a game, gamify it so that you won't feel as though, oh, this is an interview.
Yeah.
Nah, you're just talking. You're getting to know each other. It is an invitation to grow. But if you are unwilling to meet yourself at that level to where you have answered the question. So if someone, let's say, were to turn around the question and ask me, which part of my childhood would I repeat, or which parts, scare me or bring me pause, I can easily answer that and also tell the why.
Mm.
So it invites them, because that is a vulnerable type of question.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest that be your first question, but that is a
Yeah.
vulnerable
Yeah. Yeah.
type of question. It shows them that I'm okay with being vulnerable. And if they are uncomfortable with being vulnerable, then that is how you know that, this person isn't somebody who I want to be with. Like I
Mm-hmm.
went against my own preference. And now it's a non-negotiable. Because I went against it. I was dating a guy and he was like, he doesn't do condoms. And for me, I don't like to sleep with anybody without a condom
Yeah.
anymore unless I'm either engaged to or married to them. That's just a thing now that I have.
Yeah.
This particular person said that that's not what they wanted. I knew that that did not work for me, and I accepted it anyway because he was oh so fine.
Mm. Mm.
And what I realized is what I thought was a non negotiable was really a preference because it changed based on who he was. That is how you know whether or not it's a non negotiable or a preference.
Mm.
And
Can they change though? Like because we're allowed to change our minds, but
yes,
when
we
it comes
can.
to the non-negotiables, is it me being like too loose with my boundaries, or is it like, no, that's cool? Like maybe you did decide to shift.
So it can be, both things can exist, right?
Okay.
So a non-negotiable can be something that, no, this is a non-negotiable. This is a hard, fast, and non-negotiable. If I'm being honest, those are not supposed to change. However,
Yeah.
as we grow and evolve, we might decide that, hey, this non-negotiable worked really, really well in this phase of my life. It is no longer applicable in this new or next phase I'm in,
Yeah.
and it is okay if I shift and adjust that. But
That
again,
makes sense.
the conversation with
Yeah.
yourself. So yeah.
You were mentioned earlier, and I have a friend who's in the same, like her dating preferences are the same. So she already has a child, and maybe when she was in her earlier 30s, she was like, "Oh, I'm open. Like if I meet
Yeah.
someone and they want to have a child," and now she's in her later 30s, and she's like, "No, like I don't want to do that. I'm not, I don't
Enjoy,
want,
love, enjoy.
I have a child. I would love to date someone who also has a child. So
Yeah.
they have that, they've received that as well. And so we're both like good and we're clear. And again, like it used to be something that she was open to, and now it's like a non-negotiable. So I could see how like those life changes come, and then you shift in that.
Yeah. Because I'm with her. If you want to date me,
Yeah, you was like,
I'm not the one or the two. Because no,
I don't want to do it.
I
Okay,
don't
I
want to do
love this. You said that dating is trash, right? Dating is not trash. Sorry, that's what I say. Dating is trash. Dating is not trash, but how you date absolutely is. I guess give me a little bit on that. And is it going back to like we're not asking the right questions, or like
it.
is that
Yes.
what you're hitting at?
Yeah, we really aren't. Like, we're not asking that question. We also aren't going to where our type of people are. Like, if we keeping it a buck, here's the thing, right? So in that, also in that bundle where you get the 2 books for like
Mhm.
$9.99, there is a list of, I believe it's like what, 30 places where you can go to find your type based on what type of person you are. So
Oh.
for me, when I took the dating, the what type dater are you quiz, it says that I am a stimulator, and it gave me 2 places of where I can find dates. Well, the ebook gives you, I think, like 25 more places of where you can meet potential people. I know I like men who have access, right? Um, or so I thought. So I like men at that time, men who have a lot of access. So for me, going to VIP experiences and charity galas, and
Mhm.
sitting on boards and
Yeah.
going to country clubs where they're having events and things, it allows me to meet my type of person. If all you're doing is online dating, then you cannot tell me you've tried it all and dating is trash.
Yeah.
No, how you are dating is trash, and that is okay. No disrespect. And also, I said what I said. If you can honestly say that you have tried every single place, and mind you, those are only 30. There are, we literally
Yes.
since that time have come up with 20 additional places for where you can find your type of mate, then you have not done it all. Airport lounges are really great places to
Yeah.
meet folks, especially if you are a travel girly. Go to other countries and go to their lounges.
Yeah.
Don't just sit here in the US, although
Yeah.
the US has great lounges too. San
But
Francisco,
upgrade, like, do the lounge. Like, you like, if
to the
that's the type of
lounge.
person and that's the type of life that you see yourself living, like, you gotta put yourself
Yeah.
in those environments, and you
Mhm.
attract more of that as well.
Yep.
One of my she's, like, one of my mentors, and she's maybe, like, in her mid-50s, but her husband, he was like, "This is what" he was giving me the tips. He's like, "You need to go to the lounges, Alicia." I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yes. That's where we're
Yeah.
at. High quality." I was like, "Oh, that's
Yes.
where y'all are at."
For high quality, go to San Francisco, go to Oregon, go to Colorado. Like,
Okay, okay. Wait. Say it again and say it slow, or maybe we need to run it back. Everybody take their notes. Where we going?
so
Oregon,
depending on where you,
Colorado.
yeah, like even honestly, Los Angeles, like you want to pick places where high net worth individuals are. BWI, if you love, that
Yeah,
has one of the what,
yeah,
richest, like
yeah,
wealthiest places per capita when it
yeah.
comes to for Black folks. Like, I'm super intentional. If you know you want a man in tech, start going to tech conferences, and take a look at the speaker list and the companies that are coming, and go to where they at.
Oh,
Like,
you detect. Okay, all right. I see. I
listen,
see.
I'm very intentional about how
Yeah,
I date. Like, if you know you like, country club living, okay, there are always events and things happening at country clubs. Start going and taking lessons. Get real cool with some of the women who work there, and then they can
mm,
direct you and pinpoint you. If you are a part of a sorority, okay, go to some of the older women in the sorority and connect with them, build relationships with them, and then have their men introduce you to other men, because
yeah,
men are friends with men. Like, you have not tried it all. Dating is
yeah,
not trash. How you date is trash. And then when you go to where they are, and then you're equipped to ask the type of questions that you need to be asking, and also in the course, the entire first module is working on you, identifying what are your major triggers. A trigger for me, I know, is men who overtalk me or who don't listen to me. It's a trigger because of what I've experienced. So it might not be that he's trying to overtalk me. It could just be that he's just so excited to be on the date with
yeah,
us and our energies that he's excited. But me dealing with my own trigger and trauma, I
yeah,
now give it so much more grace. It's like he just excited. Now, if
yeah,
it's a continual thing, that's different,
yeah,
but he's
yeah,
just excited, and that's
yeah.
okay.
And the fact that you know that, you can what I find when I know I'm like, yo, this is the thing, like I have an abandonment or whatever that is, I can let you know. And
Yeah.
so me like sharing that, one, it's being vulnerable. So it's like, again, like you said, if that's too much for you, you wasn't my cup of tea in the first place. Cause like all my conversations is going I'm dropping deep. Like that's how I want to take
Yeah.
it.
And that's
Um
okay.
yeah,
If it's not for them, we really as women have to stop thinking of, oh, there's only this small pie or a small pot. First of
yes.
all, if you think that there's only a little bit, you'll date like there's only a little bit. I date as if
Ooh.
there is abundance. I am
Yeah.
okay with if I don't align with someone, because I know and understand that
You can let it
there's
go.
so much. it's somebody else. And it sounds
Ooh,
rude, but that song, Miss One Next 15, One Coming, he was talking about women.
ooh.
And I believe that that's for humans in general.
Ooh, that's good. Because what happens, I almost want to say like the when we think about our attachment styles, and sometimes it's specific folks, we're like, no one's gonna get me like they get me. No one's gonna understand this and all my unique intricacies. And we stay longer than we
Yeah.
know we should when it's definitely expired.
Yeah.
And then you later on you're like, wow, I met someone else who understands all those unique intricacies of me and even more.
And
Um,
who's excited to learn,
yes.
who is curious about who I am. And also to pay attention to, are you curious and excited to learn about them? Because you don't want it to be that you just have somebody who's giving you all the things that you
Mhm,
want and you're
mhm.
not also excited or curious about giving them what they need too, because then there's still misalignment.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Or sometimes you think about you're dating the nice guy and it's like he likes me. He's excited about me.
So I guess I'll keep him.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And you're like, girl, you sounded so dry talking about him. Like there was
yeah,
not nothing, nothing got wet, nothing got excited,
nothing.
nothing got stimulated when you talked
Nothing
about
was
him.
moist.
Nothing.
Nothing. You don't even like him. You don't like him, sis.
Like every nice guy is not your nice guy, and that's okay.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. I just get so excited about it because you really learn and figure out whether or not the work has worked when you are in connection with other people, which is also why too who you decide to make your life partner is the most important decision you'll make, because once you connect with them, they'll either trigger the hell out of you
Mm,
or they will activate the purpose in you. And
yeah,
what you want is folks who help to activate you, not trigger you. Although you'll always have triggers, like let's keep it
yeah,
a buck. You gonna trigger them, they gonna
yeah,
trigger you.
yeah.
It's going to happen. But if the primary piece is you all triggering each other and
Mm.
not activating each other, then you may want to look into making adjustments and changes.
That is good. That is such a good note to like leave us on. Like, what is the primary thing that's happening here? Like, am I being triggered in a way that it's like, because sometimes again, like iron sharpens iron, so it's good to
Yes,
have a little bit of that, right? But if it's constantly being triggered and I feel like I need to like change or rethink who I am, like then that's when it's like, you're not helping me. You're not triggering me to be the best person I can be, or pushing
yeah,
that pain purpose kind of like out of me. Mm,
absolutely.
Okay, so everybody, I'm gonna need y'all to do this. I'm gonna need you to go to Instagram, and I want you guys to follow Triggered as Fuck the podcast. That's the first thing we're gonna do. You're then gonna go and follow my girl Alicia Reese on Instagram as well. And then the third thing y'all gonna do is tap into the course. It hasn't officially launched yet.
It's open. It's
It's
open. It's
open?
ready.
Okay, it's
It's
open
open. It's
season.
ready.
It's open
Open
season.
season.
All
Yeah.
right. It's open season. And there is a freebie. You can go and get the Triggered as Fuck. I saw the scorecard that you
Yes.
can actually
Yes.
go get. And so it's like you can go get a little taste, a little dose of what's like happening there. But definitely lean in, like I said, $9.99 for like you to live the best possible life that you can live and be with a partner that's aligned with you. That is like the smallest price to pay. We paid more than that, y'all, on some bad lip gloss at Sephora. You know,
Not a
TikTok be
bad lip
selling us some
gloss.
stuff. You be like, "Oh, this my color," and it's not your color. It
It's
wasn't.
not. It's not
It's not for every shade. They lied. They said it
they
was for
lie.
everybody. It wasn't. Alicia, thank you so much. It was one such an honor for you to just share from your wealth of like wisdom and all your life experience. Like when you have such a grounding presence, and you can tell that you've been through some stuff. Like even what you share, yes, but even beyond that, like we know there's so much. I can feel there's so much depth, so much wisdom, and so much knowledge there. So
Thank
thank you
you.
for being open about choosing to share, because it's not always easy at all.
Yeah.
You open yourself up to a lot when you decide to do that, but you provide so much healing, and there's so many people that feel seen
Yeah.
and know that it's okay. Like even in this conversation, I took so much away. So thank you so much.
Yes, and thank you for providing the platform because everybody doesn't know, they don't know how to ask certain questions and then provide the space in a safe environment
Mm,
for folks to share. So thank you.
thank you. All right, y'all. Well, this has been your weekly dose of duality. I'm Alicia Ferguson, and I'm gonna see y'all next week. Peace, y'all.
Bye.
If you have enjoyed this episode of Dose of Duality, please do us a favor. Like, share with the homie, and subscribe. We love hearing your feedback, and trust us, we respond to like everything.
Sure do. And don't forget to rate and review this podcast. Come back again next week for another dose of duality.